What's the worst physical pain you ever felt? Gout. I thought lovingly about removing my foot with a hacksaw. Trigeminal neuralgia. Excruciating stabbing pains triggered by any and everything. You can't touch your face, brush your teeth, eat, kiss, lay on your side, nothing involving your mouth. It's like a relentless ice pick stabbing you or a million electric shocks. Sooner or later, you will want to die. That's why they call it suicide disease. Opened up a pressure cooker while it was still on the stove back in the 90s. 40 of skin surface burned and my heart is now shit on a stick. Hockey puck at 80 kilometers vs my right testicle. Resulting in a testicular rupture and a surgery 2 days later, and didn't lose it either. Ovarian torsion from a giant cyst. Worse than a broken neck and childbirth. ETA the broken neck was from a car accident at 17. I snapped 2 of the spines that anchor your shoulder muscles off the back of my vertebrae. Not paralyzed, just incredible pain and a long healing process. One more edit: I later delivered a 9 pounds 5 ounce baby all naturally with no pain meds or interventions. I would rather have 6 more just like it than another ovary twist. Pilonidal cyst right on your tailbone from snowboarding and then having to sit on a 4-hour flight. Doesn't sound like much, but if you've had one, sitting upright was hell. Sneezed and herniated a disc in my back. Couldn't walk for 5 days. This was almost 2 months ago and I can still barely stand for longer than 5 minutes at a time. Edit to add: after reading some of the replies to my comment, I am one of the lucky ones apparently. I feel bad for all of you and sorry, but I hope I don't have this problem as long as all of you have. A wasp once got trapped under my eyelid whilst I was out walking. Not sure how many times it stung me, but it was horrific. Pretty much shut me down for an hour. Kidney stones and it's not close. Edit hijacking my own comment because people are asking about prevention: drink more water than you do now. Just hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Necrotizing pancreatitis. Basically, my pancreas burst, and the enzymes that usually digest the food in my stomach instead started digesting me. I was eating myself from the inside out. The pain is indescribable. It took a month-long stay in ICU, during which time I died 3 times from the sepsis, followed by 3 months in a hospital bed. I lost over half of my body weight, had to relearn how to walk, talk and eat. It's been nearly 2 years and I'm finally off my pain meds and just about recovered, but I'll never be the same again. Tooth abscess, horribly painful, not as stuff like kidney stones, but it usually lasts longer and you can basically do nothing to make it pass until the antibiotic takes effect. I almost destroyed my stomach with anti-pain and it didn't do shit. I hated it. After some days the abscess finally broke and it was the most relieving and disgusting feeling at the same time: blood and pus all over the mouth, but the pain stopped. Edit: just to explain further, the dentist told me that he couldn't extract the tooth till the infection was over. I had quite my tear jaw for some days. Ovarian cyst. Apparently that stuff can kill you, and I've only had it twice ever, but it's worse than anything else I've ever dealt with, and I am not a clever gal, so I've dealt with my share of pain. Gallbladder attacks. Appendicitis. Shingles and cervical spinal stenosis. Stepping on a stingray. And I've given birth before. Doc pulled my tooth after 8 injections of anesthetics. I felt everything. He removed the nerve. Then scraped the inflamed jawbone under the tooth with some metal thing. I couldn't stop crying. Had my wisdom teeth cut out. Halfway through one tooth the medicine wore off. They couldn't renumb it as it was halfway hanging out of my mouth. So I felt everything as they finished removing my wisdom tooth. Cluster headaches and migraine. I woke up during my first wisdom tooth surgery to the dentist drilling the teeth but still couldn't move. I managed to make a noise when she started scraping out the tooth chips. Turns out she didn't have anesthesia and used a high dose of Vicodin 4, and I had a high tolerance for pain meds because of recreational use with my buddies. I remember her finally noticing and looking into my eyes, and her face just went pale and she looked so scared. I can't imagine what I must have looked like. I was in a fire 13 years ago. I spent 2 weeks in a chemical coma, 3 or 4 surgeries, I think it was 4, but I had 14 of my body reskinned. In the burn unit for a mint and 8.5 months of rehab. IUD insertion hurt worse than my miscarriages, and one of those came with an infection. Most recently, swollen and clogged milk ducts. Period cramps that I had at age 16-17. They were worse than giving birth, appendicitis, and kidney stones. The pain would cause me to faint while sitting down in school, and I once had a set of cramps so brutal that I was screaming at the top of my lungs in excruciating pain, literally thinking I was going to die. It felt like my lower stomach was on fire, being stabbed, kicked and twisted repeatedly while being stung by a million wasps. My dad was there, and this is one of 2 times I've ever seen him cry or show fear. Decided to take about a dozen no-d-ounce because someone online said it would feel like cocaine. I spent the night with my head crammed into the corner of a room because I could have sworn the swelling in my brain was going to crack my skull open. I have endometriosis, so that's pretty bad. I ignored kidney stones because I thought they were just kind of moderate cramps. I ended up getting a UTI from passing the stones or something. And ignored that, too, because urinary issues are common with endo. The infection spread to my kidneys and I had to be hospitalized. That kind of sucked. I also have this left-sided pain. Not sure if it is my stomach or my spleen. Hurts so badly sometimes want to curl into a fetal position while also removing my flesh. LMAO. Burst eardrum, worse than a broken collarbone. Might sound stupid next to all of those other comments, but the pain I felt in my heart when I saw my father laying dead on the ground in our kitchen. Broke my arm before, and that was nothing compared to that. A combination of kidney stones, kidney infection, septic shock, kidney stents placed incorrectly. Boy, was that a hell of a time. I ended up having 3 surgeries in 3 months for that nonsense, and I was in hospital almost the entire time. In Iraq, I was hit by 2 roadside bombs 16 years ago, and it still hurts. 10 herniated disc, fractured my face, pulled my shoulder out of socket, traumatic brain injury, PTSD. Whiskey helps though. Pleurisy. Pain in lungs, hit to stand up. Lay down, sit, it did not matter. Getting my IUD inserted. Can't explain that pain, it gives me shivers every time I think about it. Diverticulitis, flare with a perforated colon. Imagine the feeling of diarrhea. Then imagine that in addition to a searing hot knife being pushed from the inside out. Fucking brutal. When my dad passed away a couple months ago, my heart and chest hurt so much. It was unbearable. Haven't felt pain ever since. Get my IUD put in and taken out. I love my IUD and am on my 2nd one, but it is ridiculous that the doctor didn't put me on some kind of pain meds. I'm glad more people are talking about the pain and advocating for pain management options. The pain only lasted a few seconds, but I almost passed out getting my new IUD put in a few years ago. I'm heavily tattooed in painful spots and have several piercings. I have a high pain tolerance, and that IUD nearly took me out. I had a pulmonary embolism, and I would say that was both the worst pain and the scariest pain I've experienced. Endometriosis. I've had kidney stones, and the pain of endo has been insurmountably worse. Childbirth, traumatic labor, and my hernia repair operation. Double dislocated